game I've loved since I was 5 is back. A week late and a little frazzled from the lockout, but the magical number 162 forever promises another great season.
A swing and a drive! Gone!
The game will have a different look in 2022. There is a DH in the National League. The Mets have a payroll close to $300 million. The Dodgers have a ridiculous lineup, and the Indians are now the Guardians. A number of star players have new teams, but the brightest star remains an angel. Opening night features the Reds against the Braves, who have reloaded as they attempt to become the first team to repeat as champions in 22 years.
The Atlanta Braves win the World Series.
Since I was 5, the highlight of every year is always the same. Opening day, baseball is back.
Welcome to opening night baseball on ESPN. The great Hall of Famer Tim Kirkshin welcoming us back, and we will look forward to having Tim on our telecast this evening as we get set for the Cincinnati Reds and the new look Atlanta Braves. And the newest look right there, Matt Olson comes over from Oakland, and he will play first base. We got some flow tonight too. Jonathan India, the Rookie of the Year last year for the Reds. Speaking of new, this is the first time we've actually been together in a booth. Our 5-time World Series champ David Cohn will be with us each and every Sunday, and of course Eduardo Perez. I'm Carl Ravitch. Really looking forward to this season. So are the Braves, in spite of the fact that Freddie Freeman, that was the biggest story in the offseason once we got through the lockout. Like, what in the world are we going to do without Freddie Freeman? They have a really good replacement.
Oh my, did they pull a trade off? And they just, yes, you're right. It was Matt Olson. And what a first baseman, not only on the defensive standpoint, but what he replaces in number 5, Freddie Freeman, is right there comparable. The numbers do not lie. You look at Freddie Freeman's numbers next to Matt Olson's number, they're very similar the last few years. And most importantly, what the Braves are looking for is a Matt Olson that can come out and continue to produce for the next 8 seasons that he's going to be in this lineup.
8 years, $168 million, much more on the Matt Olson story. It is fascinating. Matt Olson's going to deal with a lot better pitching in the National League East, and if you're facing the Braves, one of the guys you got to deal with is Max Fried. Is he in the category of DeGrom and Scherzer, some of the Phillies?
I think he's ready to take that next step. Yes, I mean, that's a mouthful, right? I mean,
right.
You really have to prove yourself to get in that category, but Max Fried has the stuff. I think the way he pitched down the stretch last year after August 1st was remarkable, maybe the best ERA in the major leagues, and then that big Game 6 certainly really gives him a lot of confidence. And if you saw him pitch this spring, he was in attack mode. He looked like a different guy on the mound, just owning the strike zone, and that beautiful curveball is something to watch in today's game.
He's a winner, 40-18 in his career. And speaking of winners, we are delighted tonight to welcome in Joey Votto, kind enough to wear a microphone and an earpiece, and he's down in the field and joins us now. Joey, thanks so much for doing this. So we're a couple of minutes away, 16th year. And what is going through the mind of Joey Votto right now?
I feel like a rookie right now. You know, each and every one of these opening days, they're special, and they just make you feel so young. How lucky I feel to be a part of this sport, to be a part of a moment like this. Of course, the Atlanta Braves, last year's champions, are putting together a fantastic show, but opening days in Major League Baseball don't disappoint, and I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of this year's.
Well, we're grateful to have you do what you're doing, and thank you so much. Joey's getting younger. If you haven't seen him, man, check out Joey on Instagram and TikTok. Off the charts. We'll have much more of that. Tim Kirkshin will join us as we get set for first pitch. It's the Braves, it's the Reds, it's opening night. Give us baseball. 56 days ago that the Atlanta Braves behind Max Fried celebrated their first World Series championship since 1995. And speaking with Brian Snitker today, I don't think their feet have come back to earth. He's enjoyed it all. Freddie Freeman, of course, seen right there in the middle of it. He's now playing for the Dodgers. There is a series in June where the Dodgers will return here. We'll have it on Sunday night. You can imagine the reception for Freddie Freeman will be incredible. Max Fried was on the mound. for that game, and he will be on the mound for the first game. As you take a look at what he did last year, and as Cody pointed out, man, the second half was unbelievable. Some of the key numbers for him: his ERA, the innings pitched, his strikeout rate, and his K rate. Above average, a little below average when it comes to strikeouts, and the walk rate is terrific. I mean, he's not going to beat himself.
No, he's not. No, not at all. If you look at what Fried can do, and the hitters for the Cincinnati Reds have to be aware of the inside part of the plate. That's where he makes his money. That's where he makes his living. If he can establish that early, it could be a long night for the Cincinnati Reds and a short one for Max Fried.
Let's go over the Cincinnati Reds lineup, and Jonathan India, the former Florida Gator and last year's National League Rookie of the Year, will lead things off, play second base. Aristides Aquino will be in right field. Tommy Pham, who they brought over, will be in left field. Votto in the cleanup spot. Tyler Stevenson, a terrific catcher and a great young prospect. Nick Senzel, the center fielder, who was, of course, a former first-round pick. If he can stay healthy, he can do some incredible things. Moustakas is the DH. Kyle Farmer plays shortstop. Brandon Drury is the third baseman. This is a team that struggled against lefties. Now, they're a little more right-handed now, but Max Fried is such a good lefty. This is an incredible test right out of the gate.
Yeah, it's a game of first, and I think if I'm facing Max Fried on the Cincinnati Reds side, you try to get him early in the count. He's had trouble with the leadoff hitters. You don't want to get in a count where he can use that great curveball. So try to get him early.
Last season that shifts will be allowed. Albies is playing up the middle, and Max Fried's first pitch in there for strike one. 96 miles an hour. And we're underway on opening night on ESPN2. Next one also called strike two. 98 miles an hour.
You can tell he's pumped up right out of the get-go. 98 establishing, a little bit leaking towards the arm side, but that's good when you have that velo.
Now Albie shifts to the shortstop side. Swing and a miss. Max Fried starts off 2022 like he ended 21 with a 3-pitch strikeout of India.
Well, this is the problem right here if you're a hitter. Getting behind Max Fried. He has the fastball. He also has the curveball. You have that in the back of your mind. The arm slot is so high, it comes like if it's coming from the skies.
First pitch, breaking ball. 4 pitches, 4 strikes. Aristides Aquino, the right fielder, played 84 games last year. The next one from Fried, working quickly, and that one just missed. We go 1-1, and the crowd already into it, booing. On a close pitch, called the ball. Fires away, and Aquino fouls it off. Fried ahead, 1-2.
You know what's beautiful about this? They're pitching to what the analytics say that Aquino cannot do, right? It was India going with, they went fastball with India, and now it's curveball, curveball, slider against Aquino. A very good fastball hitter.
This one into the seats first. Souvenir.
I mean, the repertoire almost looks Clayton Kershaw-like, right? With the curveball slider, back and forth, and then up the ladder with a little more juice. Maybe a younger Clayton Kershaw version.
10 homers, 23 runs batted in, an OPS of 707. The 1-2, and Aquino gone on a nasty breaking pitch from Fried. 2 up, 2 down.
That's unfair. And that swing is the reason that swing came through. Why? Because of the pitch before that. The fastball up and in. 98 miles per hour gets him to speed up. And now the hips are trying to cheat to that. No chance. The bat head, Aquino cannot hold up.
Here's Tommy Pham. He hits in the 3-hole, the left fielder. And Fried works inside. Ball 1. Again, high velocity from Max at 96. He's 28 years old, 7th overall pick. Back in 2012. And another one just misses. It seems to be catching the top of K-zone or the side of K-zone, but hasn't gotten the call. 2-0. Albies plays straight up the middle. Olsen way off the line at first. And a grounder right back to Fried, who is as good as there is at fielding his position. And what a quick inning for Max Fried. The Braves will come to the plate for the first time. And that means we'll see the top of the order and Matt Olsen for the first time. hotels, restaurants all over the place, and the battery is fully charged. So is that man Brian Snitker, who acknowledges he had to turn down a lot of requests in the offseason now that he's a World Series champion manager. Braves lineup starts with Eddie Rosario, and there's Matt Olson plugged right into the 2-hole. Austin Riley, a lot of folks have him as a dark horse MVP candidate. Marcell Ozuna, Ozzie Albies, Adam Duvall with the huge performance last year when he was brought over by Alex Anthopoulos. By the way, Alex Anthopoulos will sit with us to discuss the Braves coming up in the 3rd inning. So that was 11 pitches. Bing, bang, boom from Max Fried, David.
Well, just complete attack mode, and almost like he didn't throw a ball the whole inning. The umpire missed a couple of close calls that were called balls, but Fried was almost perfect.
All right, so Tyler Mahle gets the ball for the Cincinnati Reds. This is usually a Luis Castillo spot. He was a little surprised. Castillo's banged up, so Mahle will go, and it's going to be obviously a different pitcher than Max Fried. 13-6, 375. Tends to get better as the game goes on. And Eddie, the chant starts here at Truist Park for Eddie Rosario. And the Reds immediately go into a shift with Kyle Farmer on the second base side. Strike one.
You like fastballs. That's exactly what the Braves hitters are going to see a lot of. Trying to get ahead of the count with the heater, and then he'll start to try to elevate.
Rosario pushes one. Mahle going over, and he won't be able to get it. That shift on. Rosario trying to get himself on base.
How far Mahle went for that one. He knows exactly where Drury is at the shortstop position, so it's all him.
Who said pitchers aren't athletes? Huh? Watch them go.
I knew that was coming.
A shortened spring training with the lockout. These guys are going to likely throw the first couple of weeks 70 to 80 pitches. That's where Mahle's strength of getting better as the game wears on probably not going to be a big factor early this season. He got Rosario swinging 88 miles an hour down. Matt Olson now steps to the plate. An incredible story after the Braves and Freddie Freeman got to understand it wasn't going to work out. They reached out to Matt Olson. Olson was told through his agent, look, they're going to bring you in and they're going to try to negotiate a contract real quick. He got on a plane. His agent said, make sure you got Wi-Fi. While he was in the air, the offer came in at 8 years, $168 million for a kid that grew up 20 minutes away from here. And he looks at the first one, and it's a called strike. He actually had built a house with his wife here and jokingly said, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get the mail because we're not going to be living there. We're in Oakland, likely to get traded somewhere else. It turns out it's Atlanta. And when he got the text for $168 million, as he gets sawed off and fouls it off, he said to himself something I can't say on TV, but then he also said, is the money guaranteed? All the money's guaranteed. He's literally been on cloud nine since. You can see he grew up in Lilburn, Georgia. Big time sports family. He went to the same high school that Jeff Francoeur did. Francoeur and he joke all the time that Francoeur holds the record for homers, but Olson holds it for RBI. Swing and a miss. Matt Olson down, and a high heater from Mahle.
How about both teams starting off with 2 strikeouts? Fried dominated in the top half of the first inning, but now it's Mahle answering right back. That fastball up, as good as it looks for the hitter, is virtually impossible to hit, especially with 2 strikes. Look how high his hands stay up there, and he still is not able to catch up to it.
Yeah, no fear from Mahle at all. That's his reputation. Is not afraid of contact, loves his fastball, gets a lot of the plate with it early in the counts.
Now Austin Riley. That's 7 pitches, 7 strikes, and a little wrinkle to that one from Mahle at 83 miles an hour. He will throw 3 pitches for the most part: a 4-seam fastball, a slider, and a split finger.
He usually throws that splitter to left-handed hitters. 2 different scouting reports when they have the hitters meetings.
Next one to Riley, and we just lost our opportunity for an immaculate inning with ball 1.
Ravi came to play today, didn't he? He's all over that.
Riley, by the way, was terrific. You guys saw in the beginning of the year, he really struggled offensively, defensively, and he became arguably the MVP of this team. On the ground and through with India in a shift. Austin Riley, first hit for the Braves here in 2022.
Good piece of hitting there by Riley. Allows it to get deep, but most importantly, the Cincinnati Reds playing the shift, they'll give him that. They're like, Austin, if you want to take that base hit, that's fine. We just cannot have you create damage, especially with 2 outs. You see how deep he allows it to get and hits the ball right there in the hole, and now he's 1 for 1 on the season.
Marcell Ozuna bats cleanup for the Braves, the left fielder. Back after being arrested last May, domestic violence. Apologized to a team, community service. Obviously, a terrible situation in which he claims he's learned a great deal from. You can see it's his first game since May 25th of 2021. When he's in the lineup, he's capable of 25 to 30 home runs. India shifted towards second, and Ozuna lifts this one deep to left center field. Going over is Senzel on the track, and he is there to make the play. So Marcell Ozuna, first home run threat, caught by 15. We'll see Senzel and Votto when we come back. Night, David Cohn, Eduardo Perez, Tim Kirkchin down on the field. I'm Carl Ravitch. Right, so Max Fried was terrific. Let's go K-Zone 3D Plus.
Oh, yeah, a little chance to nerd out there. I mean, look at that spin on that curveball. Incredible break. You could see the velocity at 78.8 miles an hour. The spin, the RPMs, revolutions per minute, up over 2,800. That's almost 300 more than average. And then, of course, the drop in the break. The horizontal, that's good that it's less on the horizontal part because the vertical is what you want on a curveball going straight down. Incredible curveball right there from Fried. Perfectly executed.
And here's Joey Votto for the first time. And what a change Joey Votto made late in his career. This is year 16 for a soon-to-be Hall of Famer, and he realizes, you know, it's not that far off. Maybe 4 or 5 more years. He's already preparing for life after baseball, but he was so good last year. He takes a big hack at it. He changed the way he stood at the plate. He seems to be changing his entire persona off the field with his social media presence, but this is a force, and he still believes now I can hit it high, I can hit it hard, I can hit it far.
A lot of confidence he has at the plate. Always has had that. Just a different thought process. And one thing that you notice immediately with Joey Votto is the adjustments that he's made, not only in the stance but in the bat. Using more of a thicker, heavier knob to get that bat head through the zone quicker.
And typical Joey Votto, he doesn't like that call. It appeared to be outside. It goes 2-2. It almost looks like a hockey puck. You take a look at that ball that was called a strike, and it certainly appears on K-Zone 3D to miss. So Votto now 2-2. Swing and a miss into the glove of d'Arnaud, and the third strikeout for Max Fried. He gets Votto.
All I'm doing is looking to my left and seeing Coney just loving what he sees with the spin right here. And one of the big reasons is both pitchers have been able to elevate the fastball and get those swings and the bat head to go under the ball. You think it appears in one spot. That high spin rate actually does not allow the ball to have that vertical drop.
And the perfect mirroring effect from his curveball.
And when you say mirroring, what does that mean?
The exact opposite spin. It's almost his four-seamer has perfect revolutions almost at a 12 o'clock radius in terms of reading the clock, and his curveball is just the opposite.
Got ahead of Tyler Stevenson, and then he hit him in the foot, and Tyler Stevenson says, I'm going to first base, and he is. So Max Fried allows a base runner with a hit by pitch of Tyler Stevenson.
I think the theory behind the spin mirroring is that for a hitter, it's hard to discern between fastball and curveball because it's the complete spin mirroring effect in terms of the revolution and the four seams going backwards for a four-seamer and over.
That right there, the slider, cutting right into the back foot.
Nick Senzel next up. Off speed pitch to start him off, in there for a strike at 76. So we've seen off speed 76. Fastball velocity by Fried standards is way up. He averaged 94 plus last year. He's at 97 to start this game out.
That's the ability that Fried has with that pitch, the curveball. He can throw it for a strike early on, and then he'll try to use it as a chase pitch later on. The ability of understanding how to use top and bottom of the zone is what makes it really difficult for that right-handed hitter.
Yeah, a 20-mile-an-hour difference, too. Top-end velocity.
Line shot right back up the middle, past Fried's head, and after the hit batter, a hard single by Nick Senzel. And a really good sign for the Reds to have Senzel doing that. First and second.
Well, they need a healthy Senzel this season. If they do, he's going to produce. He's such a nice, polished hitter at the plate. Bat goes through the zone. Look at the balance, especially. Put his fork right through him. Does not move. The head stays still, and he hits it right back where it came from, getting Fried to flinch.
Second pick in the 2016 draft. He's dealt with so many different injuries. And now Mike Moustakas, as they go 3 to the right side of the infield for Moose, in the first pitch outside, ball 1.
2 left-handed hitters in this lineup for the Cincinnati Reds. Usually against right-handed pitchers, you'll have Tyler Naquin also will be in the lineup. Aquino most likely not. But right now the Moose is the DH in this game.
Moose dealt with injuries last year. They wanted to be healthy. He'll likely bounce around the infield as he looks at one that is a little high at 96, and Fried behind 2-0.
One thing with Moose, he's one of the most shifted players in the big leagues, and having a conversation with him, he's like, I cannot wait for them to ban the shift. That might extend my career 3 or 4 more years.
Along with the DH.
That and the DH in the league is right. This one has popped up on the infield. And an easy one for Swanson on an infield fly rule, and there are 2 down. Big chance for Moustakas there, and he couldn't advance the runners.
This is where it all changes from last year in the National League, not having the DH, where you know first and second you're going to have the pitcher hit and be on deck. Now it's Brandon Drury that's on deck. No managerial decisions here to make, or the catcher looking to his left saying, well, let's just pitch around the 8-hole hitter.
Shortstop Kyle Farmer. 2 men on, 2 down, top of the second, 0-0. Busted inside, ball 1. Kyle Farmer speaks to exactly what Coney likes to talk about with the analytics. When he was asked what his goals were this year, he said, well, instead of batting average, hard hit balls and barrel rate. He's talking to you.
Well, it's trusting the process, absolutely. And there's a random variance to this game that is out of your control, but what is in your control is getting good pitches to hit and hitting them hard.
Into left field, Ozuna's coming. He gets it. Here comes Stevenson. Ozuna to home. It's cut off by Riley, and the Reds lead it 1-0 on an RBI from Kyle Farmer.
Tell you what, you talk about scouting report. Really nice piece of hitting by Farmer, but the scouting report happens with J.R. House, the third base coach, understanding with 2 outs, even if there's no outs or 1 out, the Cincinnati Reds will be uber aggressive running against the arm of Marcell Ozuna in left field. Does not have a good arm. He has to attack the ball in a hurry. Nice piece of hitting, but right here, he is scoring. Stevenson, the catcher, not getting the stop sign at all. As you see, there is no arm strength behind that one.
And now the DH in the National League means no pitcher in that 9 spot that Eddie talked about. Moustakas DHing tonight, but Farmer, the 8 hitter, with an RBI single, and Brandon Drury, who will be the third baseman, gets ahead 1-0. Max Fried retired the first 4, and then he hit Tyler Stevenson with a pitch. Stevenson comes around to score.
It's pretty much a 3-pitch mix from Max Fried tonight. Curveball in the mid to upper 70s, the slider in the mid to upper 80s, and that fastball in the mid to upper 90s. It's the slider that he's kind of left on the plate and given up a couple hits on.
Last couple years, that curveball, hitters have hit under 200 against Fried.
1 ball, 1 strike. Drury to right. In the corner and drifting back is Rosario, and he makes the play. But it's the Reds who strike first, thanks to an RBI single from Kyle Farmer. Bring your friends to the one spot with all of your favorite free MLB games. Play the hits with Beat the Streak, Quick Pick, and more. Visit MLB.com/play and download MLB Play today. David Bell, the manager of the Cincinnati Reds, joining David Cohn, Eduardo Perez, and me. So the team looks different, obviously. You get a big hit here against the lefty. What do you like about the 2022 edition of the Reds?
Well, we do have some changes, but you know, we've all been together for just 3 weeks now. Spring training couldn't have gone smoother. We all did our work to get prepared, and really the team came together with a lot of new faces. So we have a lot of work ahead, but we really like how things are coming together so far.
Give me the 3 keys for the Reds' success this year, David.
Yeah, you know, we have guys that you know are going to get an opportunity to play. We have young pitchers getting their first-time opportunity. We have guys coming in that are hungry at a point in their career where they're getting an opportunity. And then we have our core group of veterans that have been here, and just having guys step up and really just play to their potential. We would love to see what happens when we play to our potential, because we believe great things can happen here.
All right, David, thanks so much for being with us. Best of luck this season.
Okay, thank you, Carl.
David Bell, manager of the Reds. And Albies touches that one. Oh, Jonathan India to his right. And Albies is punched out on a close play at first base. What a play by Jonathan India, ranging to his right and getting Albies.
How about the communication right there in the infield when you have the shift? So many teams coming out of spring training, even in the short and abbreviated spring training, work on the communication. He knows exactly where Farmer is. Takes a dive, makes a great play, and he's got a strong arm. He played third base in college and was drafted as a third baseman. That's Jonathan India. Great strike right there to Joey Votto, who almost gets stepped on by Ozzie Albies.
By half a step. Terrific play by the Rookie of the Year, Jonathan India. That brings up Adam Duvall. Massive season last year, 38 homers, 113 runs batted in. Slider down, and that's a good one as Duvall swings over it.
You know, Carl, we talked to David Bell before the game. There is just something about him, his demeanor. He's so even keeled, has control of that clubhouse, even with all the turmoil and all the trades.
Is that the type of guy? So is this a clue for Eddie and I? Like, you respond to the calm.
Even keeled.
Even keeled.
Got a nice sense of humor. Doesn't take himself too seriously.
Well, you're in the right place for that. But yeah, both of these guys, you think about it, Snitker's the same way. I mean, there was obviously a whole different world to this spring training. David Bell, the heartbeat, of course, his dad, his grandfather, and Snitker with the decades that he's got here, they've seen just about everything.
So true. I mean, Snitker, it's self-deprecating, the humor, making fun of himself with the analytics people. You know, what does this mean? What are we talking about? Kind of giving and taking with the defensive alignments last year in the second half that really turned their season around.
And it's interesting that they went that route of let's try it the new way, because you have a lot of veteran coaches with the Braves, and when you have Walt Weiss on the bench, Rick Kranitz is a pitching coach, Kevin Seitzer is the hitting coach, and Eric Young and Ron Washington as well. These are veteran guys that understand, look, we have to use the metrics, but we have to simplify it for the players, for them to buy into it, and the communication has been great.
A new piece of wood for Duvall. The Reds with India, and you can see in the upper part of your screen on the left, he's now joined the left side of that infield with Farmer and third baseman Drury. Tyler Mahle's only thrown 19 pitches. And the 2-2. He got him. Tyler Mahle changed speeds, 88. Joey Votto wearing a mic all night. Here's some of the things he's said so far.
I tell you what, these opening days, they do a good job, man. We're lucky, man. We're on stage, you know? How's your swing feel? It looks good. Good. Good swing on that slider. All I can think about is, like, do not be late this next time. Do not be late. Just let him punch you on 3 perfect sliders.
I love it because, you know, he talks to himself. It's not like he's just has the mic on and he understands that he has to explain it to us. That's who Joey Votto is.
100%. D'Arnaud, this one deep to left. Going back is Pham. He's at the track, and that's the second ball that has died on the dirt from the Braves. Both innings, Ozuna and now D'Arnaud end on the track. Alex Anthopoulos, the architect of the Braves, joins us next. Recap the 2021 season. It was like a race with Mr. Freeze. They were 44-45, the Braves, third in the NL East at the All-Star break July 10th. And then, of course, Acuna gets hurt, and they add a whole bunch of outfielders, all of whom produce at different times. And here come the Braves. August 6th, they go above 500 for the first time. And that last leg kick from Mr. Freeze and the Braves, 44-28 in the second half. The Mets and Phillies also fade, and they are world champs for the first time since 1995. The man that was willing to take those chances once Ronald Acuna got hurt is joining us now, the architect, Alex Anthopoulos. Do you think about the year in its entirety after you've won the World Series, or do you just focus on the end result?
You focus on the end result, but, you know, it was so fast, right? You win the World Series, I have COVID at home, parade a few days later, then GM meetings like 2 days after that, and it's off season. And, you know, there's a potential for the lockout at the beginning of December. But I got to tell you, it's been weird. Spring training, obviously, even weird. I was talking to Snit, the manager, before the game. Just you feel like you're in mode yet, managing mode. And it just felt off. And got to tell you, when finally the crowd getting out and seeing all the videos and the hype-up videos and the video that they did, Adam Zimmerman and his group who works with us, recapping the 2021 season, I was locked into the scoreboard. It's just it all started to come back.
I'm sure.
And I was just like, wow. And it was cool to see the fans react and everything else. So it's great. And all this gold that they've done is pretty cool as well.
Fried back on the mound. Jonathan India swings at one and misses. It's 2-2. That 2021 in red is now hung over the right field seats, and the red indicates World Series title. The blues, National League pennants. And a 2-2, and this one is over the head of Albies and going to get down. He couldn't chase it down, and India is aboard. I understand, Alex, winning the World Series is the cherry. But what was the most gratifying part for you in the whole process?
Wow, you know, I even said it at the time. It was the most gratifying year of my career because the first half was just so tough. It was such a grind. And then to finally be able to get there and win the division for the 4th time. And like, I get the biggest thing. I've been in Atlanta 4 years. I mean, I'm going into year 5. All I heard about was all the Atlanta heartache that they've had, whether it's in college or Falcons, Hawks, which I love both teams, and those organizations are phenomenal to me and my family, and to follow them. But, you know, and we were part of it as well in 2020 when we blew a 3-1 lead to LA. So beating LA for us was a huge deal just because we finally got over the hump.
Aquino goes the other way. There's no one there. Not that anyone was going to catch it. And couple of bloopers here, but the Reds have 2 on, nobody out.
Yeah, 2 well-executed pitches. One left the bat from Jonathan India at 65 miles per hour. This one from Aquino at 67. Fried is executing his pitches. Now, you executed really well, also bringing in a lot of free agents that serve well, especially in the bullpen. Let's start with Kenley Jansen. How did that come about?
Yeah, I had a lot of familiarity with him the 2 years I worked with LA. We had talked to him in November. We were exploring bullpen options in November. We obviously couldn't get it done before we were locked out. But we wanted to add to the bullpen. Our bullpen was great in the playoffs, but as you guys know, during the season, we played 10 in a row, 20 in a row. it doesn't work. Guys need days off. I mean, we strategically, with the off days in the playoffs, were able to basically go to 4 guys.
Yeah.
Everyone talked about the night shift. That was their name. But we wanted to be 6 deep, 7 deep if we could. Just if you're going to be contending, whether you're down a run or 2, you want to keep the game close. So giving the manager options is huge. I swore to myself last summer when we were thin in the bullpen I wouldn't want to do it again, and it was important to us.
And Brian Snitker's all excited about Colin McHugh to go along with Jansen, and most of the night shift crew is back. Luke Jackson is out to UCL. As Fried throws a strike there. 2 men on, nobody out. 0-2 count to Tommy Pham. I know you've answered the question a million times. Rather than ask how difficult was the Freeman decision, what have you learned about Matt Olson since he's been here?
You know, we had done a ton of work on him, obviously, and everyone has great things to say. Talk to former teammates, current teammates, things like that. And everyone just said, phenomenal human being. We knew he was a great defensive player, takes pride in his defense, which is important to us. I don't think first base defense gets talked about enough. And I don't want to speak for Riley and Swanson and Albies, but you know, I've had a lot of infielders tell me just having someone over there who can get it done. You don't even have to think when you make throws, but he has on-base skills, tremendous power, but he's fit in so well to our group and our clubhouse, and that's critically important to us. We have a really good dynamic, a really good mix, and I know our players have told me over the years they appreciate the group that we have. They like coming to work each day. They like coming to the ballpark each day, and I've said this many times. I didn't put any stock into that early in my GM career, and we lost. And when I finally started paying attention to that stuff, we started to win. And I really believe in it wholeheartedly. I feel better when I walk down to that room, and I do think it does impact the wins.
The chemistry, the fact that everybody's getting along, and all those types of intangibles.
Yeah, I just think, you know, obviously you have your coaches and your managers and everybody else, but, you know, peers can help each other out. I've seen players impact other players, and it's something small. It could be where they're about to start issues, and he wants to storm into the manager's office, and a guy pulls him aside and says, I don't think that'd be a good idea to be doing that right now. Or, you know, someone's upset about his role, and he just talks to him a certain way. Or they're in the cage, or they're in the bullpen, and they suggest certain things. I mean, I have so many examples that I've seen it. That's not to take anything away from a coach or manager, but that's real. And I think over 6 months, when things go poorly, when you have a good room, the floor will not cave in. You still need talent. But when you don't have a good room and things don't go well, everyone starts to gripe, point fingers. It becomes a terrible environment.
So how did that make you feel when you heard what Ronald Acuna Jr. had said about Freddie as a teammate?
Yeah, so I saw it. Obviously, it broke last night, and I saw Ronald's. I haven't had a chance to see him today. It's been a little bit of a zoo, obviously, but I saw Freddie had some comments. I thought he answered it well. I thought Ronald, in the same vein, I think he answered it well. Obviously, I haven't talked to either guy. I was not aware of anything at all. As far as I'm concerned, we won 4 divisions in a row with both guys. They were both great. Our room was great. You guys both played a long time. I'm sure there's times when, just like with my family, you might get annoyed or irritated, and I don't want to speak for Ronald, but from hearing him today, he said it was an isolated incident, but I also understand from what Freddie was saying that, hey, these are things the organization did. So I think that kind of stuff happens all time. You just don't normally hear a lot about it.
And for people who don't know what Eddie's referring to, there was a quote attributed to Acuna when he was asked about Freeman, who's no longer here. Basically suggested that they didn't necessarily get along too well, that the way Freddie treated Ronald was maybe different than the way Freddie treated other people. We asked Brian Snitker about it. Snit said it's not even something I would ever recognize, and that one gets away, and it's going to come back quickly enough to Darno that there's no advancement with the bases loaded. We'll let you go because it's a big situation, but you're wearing an Augusta sweater. Like, were you there today? I mean,
no,
you had a lot going
went,
on here.
I know. So, look, I'm Canadian, right? So I haven't had a chance to go down, but I got to go down on the off day, and I went with my wife, and we went to the shop, and it was expensive.
Yes.
So really expensive. The over/under was well over what I thought it was going to be, and she decided to pick all my stuff today. She's like, we got all this stuff. I think you should wear it. So
you look sharp.
It's cool.
Did you see Mike Weir?
You know what is funny? I talked about when I was there that, you know, obviously Canadian.
Yes.
But I didn't get a chance to see him. But it's just amazing. For anybody who hasn't had a chance to go, it's just, I appreciate it. And for years when I was in college, I'd watch the Masters and so on. But to be there is just eye-opening, jaw-dropping, and it's incredible that we live in Atlanta and we're 2 hours away. So to get a chance to go is, you know, every time I get a chance, I'm certainly going to try.
Well, thanks so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
All right, guys, really enjoyed it.
Alex Anthopoulos. Joey Votto bats 2-0. Max Fried's in a whole bunch of trouble. Bases loaded. And there is nobody out. Shift is on against Votto, who struck out his first time up. India's at third, Aquino's at second, and that's laced over the head of Albies. He can't get it. That's going to bring India in, and they advance 90 feet. And Joey Votto, a hard hit line drive, and that puts the Reds up 2-0.
Well, Joey Votto said it himself when we put on the wire. He's not going to be late for the fastball. Fried has been missing with the fastball up in the zone. That time, Joey Votto on a hitter's count got on top of it at 104.7 miles per hour. Fastball comes in, Joey greets it and barrels it.
What did Joey say on the mic? He was not going to let a fastball get by him, not be late on a fastball, and he certainly was not.
Well, Brian Snitker said to us, I'm a little concerned about an inning with a lot of pitches, and that's what we're experiencing right now for Max Fried. Now, these guys aren't stretched out, so what does that mean, Coney?
That means you kind of start watching the bullpen, right? I'm sure he's thinking about it right now. Manager Snitker right there, and that is the biggest worry when you're not stretched out. This is a guy that's your best pitcher. You're really counting on him this year. You've got nobody out, even though his pitch count is only 45 right now. It's about how many he has to throw in this inning and the fact that he doesn't have any outs yet.
High stress pitches.
Well, they got a bunch of arms, and we're going to see a lot of bullpen early this season. Bases stay loaded. Fried falls behind Tyler Stevenson. He hit Stevenson in the second inning, and that ultimately led to the first run of the game. So Joey Votto makes it 2-0. Still nobody out.
You give the Reds a lot of credit. Some really good at-bats consecutively.
1-0 to Stevenson, and this one is into right. It stays up from third. Aquino comes. Here's the throw all the way through, and scoring Aristides Aquino. Sacrifice fly. Tyler Stevenson, Cincinnati 3, and the Braves nothing.
Curveball up in the zone. Stevenson not trying to do a lot with it. Stays with it, lets it go deep. Then when he hits it to right field, Eddie Rosario misjudges it a bit and has to catch it flat foot on his heels. Right there, you see him just stay back on it. But it was Rosario in right field that allowed Aquino, right as he's in his heels there, does not get enough behind that ball, and Aquino slides in safely at home.
98 miles an hour off the bat from Stevenson. And here comes Nick Senzel. He hit a shot back up the middle this first time up for a single.
What a great shot of Stevenson, kind of recognizing, reloading, as you said, Eddie, staying back, shooting it the other way for an RBI.
Senzel, the center fielder, 250 last year, and this one on the ground should be a double play, and it is. And Swanson and Albies get Max Fried out of it. Whole bunch of pitches and a crooked number. Braves fans find themselves down 3-0 heading to the bottom of the third.
Got to figure out the timing against them, fastball timing, but not forcing it pulled. But my swing feels fast. Yeah, it feels like dangerous.
Oh, and that's the voice of Joey Votto right there. Look at the balance that he has. He uses his legs all on this swing. Does not have a lot of separation when it comes to his legs. Gets that high leg kick and then uses the bottom half real well. As he said, his hands feel quick. The bat speed is there.
Tyler Mahle now staked to a 3-0 lead. Alex Dickerson, Dansby Swanson, 8-9-1 as the Braves bat here in the bottom of the third. Joey Votto wearing a microphone all night, and this one a 2-hopper to India, who's already got the best defensive play of the night. One down. So there's some new technology being used by the Reds. If you haven't heard about it, PitchCom, which allows the catcher Stevenson to signal the pitcher Mahle, as well as both middle infielders and the center fielder, what the pitch sign is. So there is no fingers now going down, and they really like it. And you can see there the technology. So rather than put any fingers down, he signals it, and in his Cap is a receiver, and ultimately it's a voice that says whatever, fastball down, slider away. And that's how they're communicating. What do you think of that?
I think it's remarkable that they haven't had a lot of time to get up to speed on it. Some of these teams got it about halfway through spring training, about a week to prepare, and here we go. We like it. We're going to go with it. Pretty amazing that they've adapted this quickly.
Dansby Swanson looks at one called strike, 93 on the fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
One thing that I found out is a lot of young baseball players are embracing the technology.
Sure.
Comes in, they're like, okay, let's try it. Why not? It's
Dansby first base, Votto going over, but it's going to be a souvenir.
Well, how many times have we seen in an NFL game with the quarterback with his hand over his ears? It's been used in the NFL for several years now. So it's only a natural progression to be able to try it in baseball. I think the surprising thing is that at first you thought, well, this is going to take some time. The players aren't going to adapt so quickly. They're not going to like it. It's just the opposite. Several have liked it and have adapted very quickly.
And you can see the pace of the game is a little quicker. What we heard from David Bell is basically when the ball's being either thrown back or a runner is walked, the signal is already being given to the pitcher. Like, we don't know it, but he's already sent the signal to Tyler Mahle, who already knows what the pitch is going to be.
And not only Tyler Mahle is also listening to it, but the middle infielders and Senzel in center field. So they also are getting that message of where to play.
Swanson swings late at that at 94 and up, and Mahle's making a living with the high strike. He picks up strikeout number 4.
Well, this is his MO, right? Mahle just goes right after them, uber aggressive, and you can see the four-seamer right up the ladder. He does that exceptionally well. Throws strikes and then right on up the ladder to get swings and misses. Very confident in his fastball, even though it's not in the upper 90s. Probably averages around 94, but the conviction behind the pitch and the spin is excellent.
94 miles an hour. The spin on that was about 23.67. And a swing and a miss here from Rosario. For people who are at home, give us an example of what good spin is, or high spin rates, and those that aren't.
Well, I think you have to go through, it's not just about spin rate, it's about the efficiency of the spin and the carry on the pitch. It's measured in vertical movement. Sort of the notion that a fastball rises is not really true, but it doesn't drop as much as you've said before, Eddie. But I think what you want is just that true carry right through the glove. That's the deceptive part of it.
I wish I would have paid more attention in physics class.
See that 2367 RPM, about 4% more than average, 1.2 inches more rise than average.
Again, the eyes of the hitter are so used to that average movement that when you get a guy like this, that's where you get the swings and miss. And as a hitter, you're thinking, okay, we know he elevates, so let me bring my eyes there. He continues to go further up in the zone, and you can't help but chase out of the zone.
Rosario was one of the Braves' keys in the postseason with a huge OPS. He had 3 homers, over 20 hits. As Mahle, the first 3-ball count he's had all night. That's too far inside, and that's a walk for Eddie Rosario.
One thing about Rosario that he told me before the game, he told me, he said, Ed, this is the first time that I'm going to start the season in warm weather. I've always been in Minnesota or Cleveland last year. First 2 months are going to be a lot of fun for me this year.
We talked with Alex Anthopoulos. I mean, think about what he did with Peterson and Duvall and Soler, Rosario, all those guys, major contributors. The World Series MVP, Jorge Soler, now in Miami. And Rosario, earlier the MVP. And here's another big chance for Matt Olson to make a good first impression. First quick mound meeting from Tyler Stevenson and Tyler Mahle.
I love this mound meeting. He's like, forget about the guy at first right now. He's already in scoring position with Olson at the plate. Let's focus. Let's execute right here. Let's go after him.
Brian Snitker was telling us a story about Jeff Francoeur and Matt Olson, same high school. Brian Snitker's wife got a text message from Jeff Francoeur's mother saying, "You love Matt Olson. I had him in 7th grade." He was a student of mine in 7th grade. 6 straight balls from Mahle. Olson, 39 homers, 111 runs batted in last year.
He can handle the pitch up really well.
That one?
Yeah, but look where it landed. Out of the zone, up and in. But he loves the pitch up. If it's in that upper quadrant, Matt Olson makes a living up there.
So again, you look at Stevenson, you won't see him put any fingers down. The signal's already been relayed. And it's another one high, but a little inside. 3 balls and a strike to Olson.
Definitely a quicker pace without giving signs.
100%.
I think if you couple that with a pitch clock next year, potentially, you can really have some movement and speed up just the crispness of the pace of play.
India is in shallow right on the outfield grass. A 3-1. That's high. Mally's gotten a little wild. Back-to-back walks.
And when they start missing, they miss up. We saw Fried miss up in the zone as well. It's really not east to west. It's been more north. But that's where he makes his living. That's also where Max Fried makes his living.
Dark horse MVP candidate Austin Riley, the third baseman, already a hard hit single. Another ball from Mahle to start. Check it out. He led the team in average homers and RBIs. Freeman did that in 16. Chipper, who threw out the first pitch tonight here, did it in 2000. Last 25 years, the third guy to do that. He held up, appeared to be inside the K zone. Check of first base says no, it's 2-0. If he could have appealed to K zone, it would have told him, yep, strike.
Yeah, Mahle needs that pitch at the top of the zone with his four-seamer.
Last 11 pitches, 10 balls. All right, Coney, what's going on here?
He can't land his breaking ball for strikes. Early in the game, it was a lot of the plate with his four-seamer and then up the ladder with his four-seamer. Now, when he's trying to get the second time through the order, you need to land your breaking ball for a strike, and he's missing with that particular pitch.
Green light for Riley, 3-0.
I give him the green light. It's a great take. That's not what you want to hit right there on the 3-0 pitch. You're looking for something middle in. If it's away, Mahle executed, you give him to him, you still have a hitter's count 3-1.
Three and two as he rolls that over. Riley hit 182 in his first 15 games last year. 182.
A little overly anxious there, right, Eddie? In a fastball count, he gets it, and he's out in front of it.
And when he's going right, he's driving the ball to right center field. He's already thrown him a total of 5 sliders so far in this game. 3 in the first at-bat, now 2 here in this at-bat.
3 and 2, 2 down. Runners will be going. Rosario and Olson, there they go, and this one on the ground to third. It's smothered over there. Drury across the diamond. It hits Riley. He's safe. Rosario will come in and score. And diving back into first is Austin Riley. The Braves get on the board.
Brandon Drury makes a nice play to his right, but then it's up to Joey Votto to make a decision on the throw. First thing, Drury does not come over the top making the throw, so it's not a true four-seam to first base. The ball's going to have run into the runner. Votto has to make the decision. Do I go up and get it, or do I step back and make the play? Right about that time when he already had committed, it was too late. Riley running through, hits him, and Joey Votto no chance to even catch that ball. A lot of first basemen make that play doing exactly what Joey Votto did, but I think the inexperience of having Brandon Drury at third base cost him.
It's always a dangerous play for a first baseman to go into the line with a runner coming at him. Votto did a good job switching feet, changing his angle. Just the throw ran right into the runner.
The more he gets to play with Brandon Drury, he'll realize that's what he does on a backhand.
We'll see Mike Moustakas at third base a lot this year for the Reds as well. Drury there. So now with Olsen moving up to third, Ozuna comes up with Braves on the corners, down 2. Swing and a miss at a fastball at 95.
Have to be careful with Marcell Ozuna and fastballs. He loves them. He can catch up to them really well. See if Malley keeps climbing the ladder with the heater, or does he go to the slider down and away? He has choices here.
He has mixed in that split changeup a couple of times to right-handed batters. He needs to get it down and in.
Pulls that outside. They give Riley a single on the play. But no RBI with an error on the throw. And that one misses high and away. 2 balls and a strike. Fooled on that one badly. A wicked breaking pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That had some vertical and horizontal.
Yes.
Look at one of your drives.
Yes, it did. Both way, 2-way misses.
2-2. Oh, look out, he caught it right back at Malley, and excuse me, it ended up in the glove. How in the world did Tyler Malley make that play? Oh, I mean, he was looking behind to see if it was going into center field.
The Cody flinch.
He did. Game here, universal designated hitter everywhere. And for that, we bring in our buddy Tim Kirkshin, Hall of Famer. Tim, where are you? National League rules now have the designated hitter. Boy, the game has changed, huh?
Yeah, it really has. And I'm in favor of this because we need uniformity of the rule. We need the same rules in both leagues, and that's what we're going to get. But I'm going to miss the pitchers hitting. Sorry, I'm in the big minority on this. But in 2017 on opening day, Madison Bumgarner hit 2 home runs on opening day. No pitcher has ever done that. 2019, the biggest homer of the year maybe, was hit by a pitcher, Bartolo Colon. And then last year, Daniel Camarena, a reliever for the Padres, hit the last grand slam that a pitcher probably will ever hit. It came off of Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer had never given up a home run to a pitcher before, and he gave one up to a relief pitcher. This is what I'm going to miss. Bad hitting pitchers, good hitting pitchers. I think we're going to miss it, and most people think I'm crazy.
That's Tim Kirkshin who's joining us. We would argue that few people think Tim is crazy. He is an attraction wherever he goes at all times. And a swing and a miss there. Max Fried settles back in to get Moustakas. Well, it's not necessarily comfortable for everybody. Now, Max Fried's an outlier, similar to some of those guys that he mentioned. Madison Bumgarner is an outlier. Fried is an outlier. Bartolo Colon is not an outlier, but he did have the home run. I mean, you're looking at guys hitting 120, 130. Brian Snitker initially not into it, now all on board. Because he said there were guys up there, it's like a waste of time.
But in reality, it changes your managerial style.
Sure.
And the way you go about it, and also the National League pitchers have to maneuver the lineups differently. The mentality has to change, and it will change.
Well, after the strikeout to Moustakas, Fried has gone much heavier off-speed pitch to start this inning.
And getting it over for strikes.
Yeah.
Which is the whole key with off-speed pitches early in the count. You got to land it.
0-2 to Kyle Farmer, the shortstop single and an RBI his first time up. And that one's in the dirt. Of course, the DH rule affects Shohei Ohtani as well. In fact, they made a rule for Shohei Ohtani.
They did. And Shohei Ohtani now, even if he lasts 2 or 3 innings, he's able to stay in the game as that designated hitter. And I think it not only benefits Joe Madden and the Angels, but also the fans. They want to see Shohei Ohtani hit.
Exactly. 1-2 on the ground. Riley lets it go to Swanson. And he short hops it, but there you go. Matt Olson, check. Short hop, made it look real easy.
I remember having a conversation with Matt Chapman at the Gold Glove Awards.
Yep. And
he said, the reason I'm winning a Gold Glove at third base, yes, I can pick it, but I didn't care where I threw it in the vicinity. This guy can. He's tall, but at the same time, he gets down low. See where the glove starts, and he works his way forward and up. That's how you pick it at first base, and you're consistent. These infielders are going to love Matt Olson.
Brandon Drury with 2 down. That's another strike. Dansby Swanson loved Freddie Freeman. He said it was like his older brother, and in fact, Swanson was the guy that made the last throw of the World Series to Freddie Freeman.
Well, his older brother's paying a little bit more taxes right now in California, but just inherited another brother right now.
What a different inning from Max Fried. He's getting ahead. He's using his off speed, and the 0-2 challenges him. Going back is Olson. He's not going to be able to get to that. How many blue hits have the Reds had now? That's 3 or 4.
That was a 65-mile-per-hour hit last inning, then a 67-mile-per-hour hit, and this one, well, this one's the granddaddy of all. This one did not even reach the 60-mile-per-hour range. 54-mile-per-hour is off the bat. Oh, those are awesome as a hitter.
So a lot of soft contact, though, has led to 3 runs. And he is not a guy that you find a lot of barrels against. His hard hit rate is one of the best as far as keeping hard hit rate down. Fried. Here it is, the lowest hard hit rate allowed the last 2 years. Yarborough with the Rays, Urias, Wheeler, Burns, and Max Fried. That was a StatCast look powered by Google Cloud. 2 outs. India off speed. Another strike.
Max Fried has a really good move over to first base. You're going to go as a runner. You have to go first move and take a gamble. Maybe with 2 strikes, that's what Drury might do, especially them up 3-1.
Ahead 0-2. Back-to-back curveballs in the low 70s.
So if you're up there, you're 0-2 Max Fried right now. Are you looking for another curveball or up the ladder?
I'm hoping right now Drury tries to steal second so I can start over on an 0 count.
Slow roller. Riley charges, keeps that glove down, and he throws across the diamond to Olson. When we come back, Joey Votto. He's got a microphone. He's got an earpiece. We'll have a conversation with the great Reds first baseman.
For those of you watching this, I just wanted to share that I've decided to join social media. I'm looking forward to sharing photos and videos and being more social and getting to know more people. I also can't wait to share each and every one of my meals. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Photos and explanations. No, never.
So Mr. Social Media, Joey Votto, kind enough during the middle of this game to be wearing an earpiece and a microphone and talking with us as Ozzie Albies steps in and is quickly behind 0-1. Joey, how are things going?
Wow. First of all, it's a beautiful day. Beautiful night here in Atlanta. You know, the pregame festivities were an absolute gem. Atlanta did it right. Atlanta did it right, but we're in the middle of a 3-1 ball game right now, and you know, playing defense just by itself is hard. Hitting just by itself is hard, but doing it with a microphone in my ear is foreign territory for me. So I'm excited about the new challenge.
You seem to be embracing of foreign territory, the whole social media thing, and I asked you, like, is it a midlife crisis? And you kindly said every day is a midlife crisis.
Well, that's the hope. That's the hope. I actually, I've been considering getting a diamond tooth or a gold tooth, taking out one of my bicuspids and replacing it. So, you know, ask the fans what they think about that. I'm thinking about having a little bling in my mouth. You know, send out a poll there.
3-2 to Ozzie, and this one to center field. Senzel coming, and he can't get it. Short hops it, and Albies is aboard. All right, Joey, now you're going to have a runner on first, so I'll let you kind of describe what you're doing here with the man on first, how we're playing this whole thing.
You know, my first priority, especially being up 2 runs, is... I'm mic'd right now.
Are you?
Yeah. Say hi to everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Everybody knows Ozzie. Yes, of course. You know, being up 2 runs, especially on the road, for me, it's always been important to make sure that I catch the ball. A missed throw from the pitcher, a missed throw from the catcher. I have to make sure I stay in front of it. So, you know, I don't prioritize the tag out or any sort of pickoff. I prioritize staying in front of the ball. We can't let Ozzie get to second or third base. And, you know, Tyler has a relatively predictable pickoff move, so I don't worry too much about that. But, you know, right now we're thinking about getting a double play. And, like I said, making sure we keep Ozzie away from second and especially third base with 1 out. No easy runs, no sac fly runs, no infield ground ball runs. So,
Joey, how difficult was that throw from Drury the last half inning?
It chased the runner, and you know, Drew did his best. It was a really tough play. It just chased the runner up the line. You know, sometimes on those ones you have to get behind the bag and catch it, or you try to get out front. You try to get out front and take the ball away from the runner, but because it chased him, I couldn't get to that spot.
Yeah.
And ended up hitting his back. A run scored, obviously.
This was the play. We're showing it. I know you can't see it. You're multitasking now, but you're not able to see a monitor.
Oh, I see it. I see it in my mind's eye. Eddie, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
Todo lo más bien, mi amigo.
Muy bien.
Now, Joey, explain, because you're using a different bat with a different knob on it. How did you come about?
You know, at this stage of my career, the priority is for me to hit the ball as hard as possible, to be more difficult to defend. The shift is real, especially as a left-hand hitter that hits line drives on the right-hand side. You know, you can hit a ball very similar to the one I just hit, and Ozzie very nearly took it away. You know, you do that over and over, and you hit it softer, and all of a sudden these are outs as opposed to hits. So, you know, I've prioritized hitting the ball hard. I worked with a golf instructor a couple years ago, and he likened what I'm trying to do right now to the, and we've got the Masters going on, which is perfect, to a golfer. To the best golfers in the world are the longest drivers, and the players that get cut are the ones that are most accurate on the fairway. And I, for a bit, as we've got one out on a nice pitch from Tyler there. How you like that play-by-play? And
keep going.
Keep going.
We're not going to get in the way.
I know, Carl, you're trying to work on your golf game right now. Forget baseball. Your ears are wide open, I can tell. Anyways, Carl, back to how we can improve your golf game.
Just hit it far, right?
Just hit it far, smash it. And that's what I'm trying to do on a baseball field. And that puck on the end is supposed to create more bat speed per the people that fitted the bat for me at Marucci.
So I'm wondering, when the shift goes away next year, do you change that?
If I'm hitting the ball hard, hitting the ball through the gap and over the fence, and if I'm difficult to defend, that just ends up being doubly good if the shift goes away for someone like me, Bryce Harper, Matt Olson type of guy. These are the guys that get zinged by, I feel like get zinged by the shift. And like I said, hitting the ball through the infield will be a little bit easier if the shift goes away, especially with the pace of play. Woo, that's going to be a nice change.
Have you noticed the pace of play changed at all with pitch calm on your team?
This is game one, and I think they started using pinch calm at the very end of spring training. So I can't tell you. It's new for me.
Thank you, man.
Of course.
Next time you have a second, maybe you ask Ozzy about the gold tooth.
Or ask him how his neck is going. It looks like he's stretching it out.
Ozzy's not dealing with the midlife crisis like me. I'm asking you guys. You guys are past the midlife crisis mode. Ozzy's a young buck.
Fair point.
Got nothing but a bright future. Hey, Ozzy, what do you think about me getting a diamond tooth?
Go for it.
Okay, there we go. Go for it.
Go for it.
Okay.
Why not? Want to get it for real?
Yeah, why not?
Get it. Why not?
Okay, all right, there you go. There you go. Hey. Yeah, they told me to ask you. I said I wasn't going to ask you. You're much too young. I'm midlife crisis guy.
Go for it.
Okay.
You told me, Joey, before the game, like, you can kind of see over the horizon to sort of the end here, and yet you're doing everything you can to prolong what you're doing, and you're so great at it still.
You see examples in other sports, what LeBron's doing in the NBA, what Tom Brady's doing in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers in the NFL. These guys are late 30s, 40s. I have to say, I feel excellent, and I feel strong, I feel healthy, and the game, I feel like I fit right in with the game currently. So as far as there being any sort of, eyes on retirement, I don't feel like I'm there yet. I'm having a good time. I love my teammates. I love wearing this uniform, and I love playing ball. I feel like I'm playing well still.
You are. Darno swings at a high one and misses. Just check out some of the numbers, and I'll go over them, and then I'll ask you what you're most proud of. But there's a very small group of players that have had the 300 average, the 400 OBP, and the 500 slug. So Ted Williams, Musial, Walker, Frank Thomas, Chipper, who's here tonight, Mike Trout currently. Most of them are Hall of Famers. With all due respect to all those names, like, what are you most proud of in Joey Votto's career with the Reds?
I was a little bit later starter. I was right before 24 years old when I got my call up, right at late 23. And I'm proud of how many games I've played. That's a priority for me, getting as many 162 games, 160 plus games in. It's a point of pride for me. As far as offensively, I love that I've adapted to the the different versions of this game, and I've had stretches where I've excelled, which I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but it takes consistent adaptation. You always have to accept a new challenge. You always have to accept change is inevitable. And this game, it just does not stop coming at you. It is, I'm talking right now, but my heart is beating through my chest just because I know how every single moment counts. Every moment in this sport is challenging, and I don't take it for granted. So that's what I'm proud of.
Alex Dickerson ahead 2-0. So, you surprised me a little bit earlier today because with the whole TikTok thing, you said when asked how flexibility is part of your game, you said you break dance.
I took some lessons. Shout out Frosty. I took some lessons in the off season. I do it like once or twice a week. And, I want to make sure I was in a good place defensively. Now that this DH is in both leagues, I just do not want to DH. I want to play defense as long as I can. Some of my very favorite players of all time play defense throughout the rest of their career. And I think I can do that. But you have to stay in really, really good condition.
3-1.
All right, I'm going to play behind the runner, I think. Tyler, behind. And so right here in this situation, we let Ozzie get a little bit of a head start, but we can't let Mr. Dickerson hit a ball down the right field line for a double. Leading to Ozzie scoring on a double, so I have to stop the double here. Can I get a bit of space? And
this one laced to right field, and it is
good play, good play.
Track, Aquino.
Good play, really nice. All right, time to hit.
Do a little break. You get a little break dance on the walk off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If I hit a homer, maybe.
Homer. Joey, thank you so much. You're unbelievable.
My pleasure. Am I done?
Arguably the best rivalry in sports and baseball. Our first Sunday nighter. The Red Sox and Yankees finishing up their 3-game set at the stadium. Our coverage starts 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific on ESPN and the app with Baseball Tonight's Sunday Night Countdown. ESPN 2 will have the K-Rod cast. So that's Michael Kay and Alex Rodriguez, the Rocket Roger Clemens, Julio Rodriguez, and other guests will join them as we go multi-platform, multi-options Sunday Night Baseball. And again, a special shout out and thank you to Joey Votto, who just did something that I know he's never done before in the middle of a major league game with a runner on first. And you can tell, you're out of breath, how composed and how what a unique experience for the viewer to get inside Joey Votto's head there at first base. That was phenomenal. So thanks again to Joey Votto and the Reds for making that possible.
That was gold.
I'd like to nominate him for an Emmy right now. I mean, is he eligible?
Sure. And Aquino made a terrific catch to end the inning, and he leads this one off with Pham and then Votto to follow. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Tim, you have more on Joey?
Yeah, we were talking to him before the game, Ravi, you and me, and he said that he wants to get a tattoo. So he's going to go to Brazil in the offseason to get a tattoo. I said, what kind of tattoo are you going to get? He goes, no, that's not how it works. He says, the guy there is such an artist. He's going to put a tattoo on me, and I don't even know what it's going to be, and I'm okay with that. This is Joey Votto these days.
Lifted to left field, Ozuna under it, and he's there.
And just to finish, Ravi, Mike Moustakas told me it is so great to come to the ballpark every day and just
like a long trip, but it also feels like he's done a lot of research on the best tattoo artist in the world, let alone the country. We're going to Brazil.
Now the next question is, where is that tattoo going to be, right?
Fair. Joey swings at that and fouls it off. So a strikeout of Aquino, a fly out by Pham to left.
Talks about making adjustments. Joey's made so many adjustments to his approach, and he's right.
It's about 11 years ago as the 0-1 comes into Votto, and this one has popped up. Max Fried says it's mine. There's a shift. It's his. I got a chance to spend about 7 hours in a bathroom with Joey Votto. We were cutting a Sports Center commercial about mustaches. We'll show you that when we come back. Joey Votto in his career has ever popped up to a pitcher. In his career.
Well, you know what? It's a Gold Glove one, so he had nothing to be ashamed about.
That's right. Welcome back, everyone. David Cohn, Eduardo Perez, Carl Ravitch, Tim Kirkshin rejoins us in a moment. Brian Snitker now with the Atlanta Braves. Great manager, World Series manager. Has that sunk in yet? World Series winning manager?
No, I'll be honest with you, it hasn't. I mean, I still pinch myself every morning when I get a cup of coffee.
How different was the offseason and spring for you?
Off season was just a lot more busy, a lot more people wanting you to do things and that kind of stuff. The spring, actually, after the first meeting and we got going, it was kind of like spring training. It was just business.
You know, I know you speak with Bobby Cox quite a bit, so he understands winning a World Series and then trying to come back and do it again. Any advice from Bobby or anyone else about that?
I'll be honest. I wish Bobby could give me advice right now. I talked to him this afternoon, and you know, I can go by the expressions, and he's really in it with us. And you know what? I don't know that anybody had any definitive things that would make a difference, quite honestly.
What have you seen so far from Max on the mound today?
That was good. I mean, he started out great, had a little bump in the road, then he's regrouped here. And, you know, a lot of this adversity that a guy goes through isn't at all bad either. You know, I like his stuff. I like how he's getting after it, and hopefully we can get another inning out of him.
Hey, Brian, thanks so much. Congratulations on a great year and continued success. We expect that this year.
All right. Thank you, guys.
You got it. 4 decades Brian's been with this organization. I'm not sure he even knew it, but he just witnessed history on the Joey Votto pop out as Swanson swings at a nasty pitch and he's gone. So here's the history, Tim. Explain why this was a historical out from Votto.
Well, going into tonight's game, Joey Votto had over 8,000 plate appearances in a career, 2 pop-outs to the catcher in his career, 2 to the first baseman, and 0 to the pitcher until tonight. That's the first time he's ever popped out to the pitcher. Flying down here for this trip, I said, the only thing I want to happen on opening night when we have the game is for Joey Votto to pop out to the pitcher, and then it happened. That's unbelievable.
I must say the last 30 minutes have been just dominated by Joey Votto.
So, Coney, I don't know if you're familiar, but when the voice cracks that high, that means it's a real memorable moment.
I was pulling for a homer and then breakdancing after.
That's right. Eddie Rosario, we're in the 5th, and that one is laced. But on a line and backing up is Aquino, and he's there to make the play. So Rosario 0 for 2 with a walk tonight, near a 2 down.
96.2 miles per hour off the bat. Launch angle of 25 degrees, just not enough for Rosario.
And the new first baseman for the Braves will be here for the next 8 years. Is that guy Matt Olson. Matt grew up not far from here, and of course, as a good athlete, he was promoted to the varsity when he was like 14 years old, and he had an older brother that played on it. They were all seniors, and it was never an issue for Matt to fit right in and star. I guess if you think about it, like on the list of guys to replace Freddie Freeman, if he's number one, like who else would have been able to fill those shoes so easily? That one is a shot, and India is there to make the catch. Votto, did he hold the bag with that foot? He did. A little breakdance move right there for you, Coney.
Very nice.
Joey Votto's owned the hour, making history, wearing a microphone in the middle of a game, popping out to a pitcher and holding the bag. Truist Park as we welcome you back, and baseball is back. T-Mobile and Sprint customers can score a free MLB TV subscription all season long, now through April 11th. Switch today and score at T-Mobile.com/MLB. First trip to Truist Park? You been here before?
Yeah, this is my first trip. Well, we're up here high. This is really high up here.
It is. Speaking of high, there's one that is sent to center field. And there is an out. Max Fried continues to pitch here, Coney, in the 6th.
Well, he's made adjustments along the way. As Snicker said, he came out smoking early. I mean, really firing his fastball, upper 90s at times. And then lost a little feel, overthrowing a bit, up and out of the zone. And then once you get the rough edges worn off, you can take a little bit more off of that curveball. Pitchers talk about rough edges, you're overthrowing a little bit earlier. A little less velocity lets that curveball really work for him and get some drop on it.
Gets the call, inside strike. To Nick Senzel, singled his first time up, 6-4-3 double play. And quickly ahead, 0-2.
Last 2 pitches he threw. Up and in right there, upper quadrant for a strike. Again, gets Senzel to think inside with that next pitch. He has so many routes he can go. He can go with the fastball up or that nasty curveball down and out of the zone. And watch Senzel's hip. If it flies open, that'll open up the outer half. He's going back in.
He did, and he jammed him right on his fists.
But you see where the pitch was, 96, out of the quadrant. As a hitter now, you have to try to cheat in because you're protecting that part of the plate. This is where Max is really good now. That front hip is cheating out. You see the front hip go first? Now it's a question of, do you stay disciplined and trust your hands?
So while d'Arnaud is putting signs down, the Braves have not embraced the technology yet like the Reds. Manager believes at some point probably going to have to hop on board. But that's why d'Arnaud is using the old-fashioned signs.
I laugh because you say the old-fashioned signs, which is what, like maybe
an hour ago. On the ground to Swanson.
As electric vehicle driving becomes quieter, so do our tires. Electrified Hanguk. Hanguk Tire.
He's retired 6 straight. And a lot of times third time through the lineup. That's when managers get a little skittish. But Fried is rolling here. That one is laced into right, but it goes foul off the netting.
The last out was a changeup. Got him out front. Hip went flying out. There was nothing behind that upon contact.
That's a big pitch for Max Fried moving forward in his career, and he's only thrown a handful of them tonight. But the ones he's thrown have been very effective. It's the only pitch he has in his repertoire that has kind of that movement away from a right-handed batter. Everything else moves in. His four-seamer, kind of straight or carrying action, or even a little boring action, his curve and his slider all break in to a right-handed batter.
80th pitch of the night for Max. Slider at about 80 miles an hour, and that missed. I believe, right? 80 pitches stretched out. This is the last inning for Max Fried.
These are the type of lefties that, and I made my living against left-handed pitching, that I did not like to face. Because the fastball hard in, you get to cheat. I know exactly the feeling that you have. Okay, I want to look in, and then he can throw that curveball, and I could never really barrel up a curveball, so I stopped swinging at him. Because most of them were designed to be thrown as a ball out of the zone.
1-2 out of the way to Moustakas, who's already struck out once. This one on the ground. Swanson off his glove, and it trickles into right field. Mike Moustakas is on board. That'll be a hit with 2 down.
I guarantee you, Moose, while he was running to first base, was talking to that ball. Come on, get through, get through. Dansby could not handle it. Interesting that with 2 strikes, Dansby was not on the other side. Played him still on the third base side. Wasn't able to get there.
Yeah.
It's one of the interesting parts about PitchCom is that the middle infielders that will have the earpiece will get that information sooner and can adjust their defensive alignment quicker. At least anticipate the flow a little better, you would think.
Another ball, though, Eddie, not hit very hard. The Reds have 7 singles tonight by 7 different players. Farmer singled and drove in a run in the second. And a little blooper, another one shallow, and that one drops. They'll go to second. Moustakas, and he could not scoop it. Dansby Swanson on a throw that was short hop by Rosario.
Okay, this is not knowing how many outs there are,
Exactly
because
right.
Moose right here should be going upon contact. There should not be a play at all at second base. There were 2 outs. Moose actually paused to see if the ball was going to land or not. No reason for this. Is he has to be going. He has to be already at second base right there. Instead, Eddie Rosario heads up play, trying to at least get Moose at second.
Yeah, 2 down. Moustakas should have been running head down hard. Max Fried's night is over after 84 pitches. Bullpen has been activated for the Braves. 3-1, 2 on in the 6th. The old pitcher Max Fried is out 5 2/3. The 8 hits, 3 runs, all earned. You know that look, Tony?
Yeah, he's replaying and processing the outing. Obviously, he wanted to get through the 6th inning there. Disappointed in that, but still probably thinking about back to the 3rd inning when he gave up a couple of runs, and then the 2nd inning when he gave up the 1 run.
With a hit batter. This is Colin McHugh. He, along with Matt Olson, came over right around the same time. McHugh actually moved to Lilburn, Georgia, or Lilburn, Georgia, I should say, when he was 6 years old. He grew up an enormous Braves fan. So this is full circle for him, because, as he said, the Braves were really good when I was growing up. And he's been really good. And Brian Snitker said, I expect Colin McHugh to be a huge part of what we do here.
We had a lot of success coming and being in the bullpen last season. Little different scenario with not this situation right here. The Braves would have the Reds pinch hit if the pitcher were up in the 9-hole. Not anymore with the DH.
Nope. Drury looks at that. That's a little high. 2 balls and a strike. McHugh tells the story. He's sitting in his living room watching Sid Bream round third. Slides in safe. My mom freaks out, he said. Throws her hands up in the air. Smokes my dad right in the face. I was like, I think she just broke his nose. It was pandemonium. Now he's playing for the team he rooted for growing up. 2-2.
Well, one thing McHugh has always been able to do is spin a baseball. Excellent spin on all of his breaking pitches.
Well, it was the Houston Astros that actually discovered him after him being with the Colorado Rockies, and they felt that the spin rate would work well in Houston, and boy, did it.
2 on, 2 down, 1 and 2 on the way to Drury, the 9-hitter. And this ball is driven to left. Ozuna going back. He is looking up at the wall, and over the wall it goes. A 3-run home run for the number 9 hitter, Brandon Drury. And the Reds now break it open.
What a big at-bat right there by Brandon Drury, who had a lot of big pinch hit at-bats last year with the Mets. This time here, gets a hanging breaking ball and gets it out in front and barrels it. Max Fried right now not too happy. Ball stays up in the zone. You see where it misses location. Give a lot of credit to Drury. Does not cut off his swing at all. Stays back, sees it, puts that foot down and launches.
Boy, Brandon Drury, 4 homers last year. And he delivers his second hit of the night. A 3-run shot. 6-1 Reds. And the crowd here at Truist Park has gone silent.
A couple of parting gifts for Max Fried.
Right.
Sitting on the bench in the form of earned runs.
Hard hit on the ground. Swanson can't get there, and it gets through for a single. So Colin McHugh getting hit hard here. .97 off the bat.
Key to the success of Brandon Drury was putting that foot down, recognizes it, sees it up in the zone, and once he does, he knows that he had good barrel on it. Shorter part of the field, Yahtzee.
First pitch swing is Aquino. So Max Fried did not get hit hard. The average exit velocity against him tonight was just 81 miles an hour.
Hit them where they ain't.
That's what they did tonight. And the Reds doing damage with 2 down. This one to Rosario. He's coming hard, and he's not going to be able to get to it. It just feels like the Braves, wherever they're playing, are about 3 feet off of where they would otherwise be making outs.
Even foul balls are landing.
So Colin McHugh was so good last year. He threw 514 sliders and he allowed 2 homers.
Very uncharacteristic of him tonight.
Tell you what, Cincinnati in 1990 was the second time that they had started the season on the road, and that was in San Diego. They won that game. They went wire to wire that season, winning the World Series. You're looking at the Cincinnati Reds again starting off the season here in Atlanta. Look, there might be something to this. Both years the season was delayed, this time because of a lockout.
Well, to add on to that, Eddie, this is the 6th time that they've opened against the defending World Series champions, and they are 4-1 in the previous 5. And this one gets to the seat. The last time was against the Dodgers in '89. You know who had a big game that night? Your boy Paul O'Neill went 4 for 4 with a home run.
Ollie, I will say this.
The Warrior.
Right now, this stadium is quieter than Augusta. It's pretty quiet. The Cincinnati Reds have been able to do that.
1-2, and India was on the move.
Yeah, 3-run homers do that as well.
Chicago Cubs got off to a good start today. They beat the Milwaukee Brewers. When you think about just the National League Central, off speed, and Aquino is gone. But not before a lot of damage is done. Brandon Drury got into one. Over the wall in left field off newly acquired Colin McHugh. It's the Cincinnati Reds 6, the Atlanta Braves 1. Coming to the plate, still plenty of time left. Ability after that big 3-run home run for the Cincinnati Reds. They now have a 93% chance to win this game. There's probably a few Reds fans who are wondering how this bullpen is going to play out this year. It was a concern, still remains a concern coming off spring. Got a chance to protect it tonight, up 5. Austin Riley leads things off, and Sessa, the former Yankee, throws a strike in there at 94 miles an hour. Didn't walk many, and the strikeout rate was below the average. Riley, a swinging bunt. Stevenson out in front to get the out. Riley retired.
I think you have to give Tyler Mahle a lot of credit. We talked a lot about Max Fried, and rightly so. But Mahle came to play tonight. Excellent road pitcher, too, in his career, especially last year. Had his four-seamer working up top. Had 5 whiffs on his four-seamer tonight, but he was able to get 12 called strikes with it as well, and then down on the down low with the split changeup. Had 4 swings and misses on that, too. He had called strikes and swings and misses with all of his pitches tonight, and also had the atom ball working. 97-mile-an-hour exit velocity tonight, but they were at him. So a little bit of luck helps, too.
Love that.
84 pitches in the game for Mahle. The Reds now face Marcell Ozuna. 0 for 2 tonight.
One of the things, Eduardo, I look at, it's not just about the swings and misses for pitchers. It's about called strikes, too. Can you get called strikes with all of your pitches? Are you relying just on your fastball? Mahle mixed in a cutter. Kind of got the hitters off of his fastball when he started to struggle a little bit with this four-seamer. Max Fried as well on the other side. Got called strikes with all of his pitches. His slider, his curveball.
And when he got in trouble in that 3rd inning, it's because he started missing up with the fastball, but then he was able to regroup again.
Well, the hit batter of Stevenson felt big in the second. That gave them a run. And that was the inning he did get a little wild. He went to that off-speed stuff, too. Like a bit of adjustment after the 3rd. The 4th was decent.
I think if you talk to both managers tonight, they would be pretty happy with their starting pitchers being able to get into the 6th inning or give them 5 solid plus innings.
You're always hoping your number 1 can give you 7. Take a little pressure off that bullpen. But that 3-week spring training is working big time here right now in this ballpark.
What kind of spring training guy were you, Coney? Did you get tired of it after a while?
You know, spring training really is for the pitchers to get stretched out. You want to get to 100 pitches, and they just were not allowed to do that this spring,
right,
for obvious reasons.
3-2 to Ozuna. He bounces another one, and that's ball 4. So headed to first will be Marcell Ozuna. Coverage of our first major. It will continue tomorrow at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ESPN and the app. Second round from Augusta. ESPN Plus, outstanding all day. Will continue featured whole and featured group coverage the next 3 rounds. SportsCenter's dedicated coverage continues through Sunday. You want to get ESPN Plus, go to espnplus.com or download the ESPN app. Sungjae Im, the leader after round 1. 5 under. Cameron Smith 4 under. Dustin Johnson, Danny Willett, Joaquin Neiman, who played with Tiger Woods, amongst the leaders. Tiger played very well today. 1 under on his round. You'll be able to see him tomorrow in the afternoon during our coverage, which is on basically all day. And Matt Berry, Sage Steele, Andy North, and of course Scott Van Pelt and the entire ESPN crew doing a terrific job. Great to watch, looked great, sounded great, and the golf was terrific. Winds are supposed to be howling tomorrow.
Best thing I saw today. So good, isn't it? Scott Van Pelt.
Tremendous.
Can't wait to hear what he says about that.
Yeah. Not the 1-1. That's outside to Ozzie.
So far, Sesa is actually doing what you had said earlier, where he has not been able to land the breaking pitch at all. He's been really good control with the fastball, even though he just threw a ball right there. The sliders have all been out of the strike zone. Started Marcell Ozuna 0-2, lost him and walked him.
Ozzie rolls one. Votto will go to second, and the throw back. Safe. Close play. Not an easy turn for Farmer, the shortstop, who's coming from the shift side. But boy, that was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, given Albies' speed.
Yeah. India was looking in the dugout as if to, hey, let's take a look at that. Votto did not protest.
He didn't protest, but when we came out here early today and the Cincinnati Reds were out with early hitting, it was Joey Votto that was out here early, taking actually not hitting, but defense, working on it. Takes a lot of pride in it. I saw it safe.
And now Duvall, as India shifts to the shortstop side. First pitch comes inside and down. 1-0. It's a little cooler tonight, and the ball has not carried for the Braves. We've seen two balls end up on the warning track. Had about temperatures in the 60s. Nasty weather last night. A lot of Georgia, which has been dealing with terrible weather. We had some lightning storms, etc. in the area, and you can see some of the folks bundled up tonight. Temperature drifts down into the 50s and 40s. But as you said earlier, for Rosario, it feels really warm and comfortable.
Yeah, people in Minnesota are laughing right now. Are you kidding me?
That's right.
Rosario's loving this right now. Again, another slider that he wasn't able to land. I think that's an important pitch, especially on a 1-1 count where Duvall can really rake the fastball. Does he come and try to challenge him with the number one?
The bullpen that has, there you go, it is chill. It's not the Skyline chili that's famous, of course, in Cincinnati, but it's chill.
There we go.
Sessa, Alexis Diaz, Daniel Duarte. And the bullpen may be an Achilles heel for the Reds, back to back. First and second.
This is Roundup Weed and Grass Killer with Sure Shot Wand. This stuff works. This stuff works down to the root, so weeds don't come back. This stuff works without hurting your back. This stuff works guaranteed or your money back. This is Roundup Weed and Grass Killer with Sure Shot Wand. This stuff works.
Yeah, the Reds had the 27th worst bullpen ERA last year, but they had a weird year. They won 83 games without a double-digit save guy. So they're the first team since 1987 to win at least 80 games without at least 10 saves from somebody. And this year, they're going to have to mix and match in that bullpen. Lucas Sims, some other guys are hurt, so they're going to have to find some answers in that bullpen as they move forward.
No doubt. Here's Travis d'Arnaud, and a big chance now with 2 on. And he rolls one to short. Good play, staying down on it was Kyle Farmer. They get the force out at second. The Braves will strand 2. We're going to the 7th inning. After that quick conversation, Sessa gets out of it.
Eddie, congrats on the World Series, buddy. Awesome. So I'm in Europe for a month, minding my business, not following the game, and all I keep hearing is, Eddie, how well you were playing.
Share this with you. I'm going to try really hard this year to try to work as little as I can, rest as much as possible, because the way I feel right now, I want to feel like this as much as I can.
I'm trying to imagine a thought bubble there with David Bell when your star player's saying, I want to try to work as little as possible.
All I'm thinking is David Bell's probably just thinking, I'm trying to get through these innings and maneuver my pitchers in my bullpen.
He's a renaissance man. Now he's into load management.
Quality control guy.
Yes.
They have planted that in his ear.
Can we talk later about this?
On the mound now is Spencer Strider, Braves 4th-round pick in 2020 out of Clemson. Throws a hard, moving fastball, 98. A mustache that Mr. Redlegs would be proud of for Cincinnati, the mascot there. Slider at 85, and he's only thrown 37 pitches in the league. There's some of that heat right there at 100 miles an hour.
We used to get really excited for 100 miles an hour, right? Now it's like, okay, another one.
Yeah. See if we can go 101 now.
We're starting to see 102, 103 at the college level.
Yeah, Ben Joyce from Tennessee.
That's right. Feels like half the Tennessee team can throw at 100. Strider, 99, punch out of Tommy Pham.
Well, you can throw that in that location right there. That plays. Again, 99 down in the zone, it'll get hit. But up there with 2 strikes, might as well take a left turn and go right back to the dugout. That was loud.
Look at that face. And those are the things that knocked David Ortiz out of the game. He used to say, everybody comes out of the pen. They all throw 99. There's a good look from Tommy Pham about it. And here's Votto.
Just processed that slider. Hadn't thrown one. Now you give advantage to Votto. He's dead red looking fastball. Oh, he went another one. Fine. And he was able to land it for a strike.
Well, so he thought.
Exactly. So did Eddie. But it's 2-0. Riley's in a shift. He's between Olsen and Albies. And this one is skied. Rosario camped. Well, about 10:20 East Coast time, 7:20 out west. And there is an AL West game going on tonight of great interest. That is the Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Angels. Shohei Ohtani pitching for the Angels, and he's getting set to come up for the first time, and there he is. So we're going to take a look at that game with Framber Valdez on the mound as Strider throws to Stevenson and misses away. And Ohtani first pitch swinging on the ground. Look at that speed, and he's just thrown out at first. First at bat for the MVP. A ground out, and Carlos Correa's replacement makes the play.
Yeah, top prospect there, and Pena coming in, known for his glove, gets tested right away with Ohtani speed.
It was impressive, quick release.
They're high on him.
Two and one. Good pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 86. Spencer Strider's looking good right now. With that shot of Ohtani, we go to Caesars Sportsbook for the favorites to win the home run crown. Vlad Guerrero ahead of Alonso Judge. There's Shohei Ohtani. There's a big swing and a miss here. Whole season of Shohei pitching, DHing, staying in the game. Give it up for Strider, who was outstanding.
Can I deconstruct this? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's $150?
Yes. 151. 6-1, and we are just happy to have baseball back. We're happy about our action-packed April. ABC Saturday NHL matinee, Ovechkin and the Caps. They take on Sidney Kitt and the Penguins. Saturday night, UFC 273. 2 title fights in our first Sunday night baseball matchup of the season. Series finale between the Red Sox and the Yankees. Yeah, you get a little bit of everything for you this month. So we're up here in the booth. We're trying to do some of those dance moves, and Eduardo has been presented with a massive, expensive burger. Available in Atlanta this year. We've moved peanuts and cotton candy and Cracker Jacks to the side. You can have that Wagyu beef patty, which has some pan-fried eggs on it, gold leaf-wrapped foie gras.
Right here.
There's some water lobster tail in there, an heirloom tomato, Tillamook cheddar cheese, and truffle aioli on a toasted buttered bun served with Parmesan waffle fries for the price of...
How much is this going to run me?
$151. Yes. Now you get a ring, a World Series ring, not an authentic ring, but for $25,000 you can buy a ring, like an authentic World Series.
For 25 grand.
Yes, and you get the burger.
And the burger.
Yeah.
Now, do I get the burger all year?
I don't think this is going away. This is this season. That's a World Series championship burger. So I want you to deconstruct that, Eddie, and eat it. There's a part of that you must love. Just look at the lobster.
I am going to crush the lobster.
Figured that.
And I'm going to try some of the gold. Maybe it'll work well. Maybe like Joey Votto's diamond tooth or something like that.
This is Justin Wilson, the lefty. And his numbers, Heredia is pinch hitting for the Atlanta Braves. In the dirt.
I think Coney is realizing that I can eat. I can crush food, Coney.
They didn't give us the fries, though. Where's the waffle fries?
He's looking for the waffle fries.
It might be somewhere inside this burger.
So you have found an issue with a $151 burger.
Yes.
There's no fries with it.
Always looking for more. I got you.
So go ahead. Let's see you take it apart. I want to see how you do.
Eventually it will happen.
So we go to the Little League World Series, and they have Chick-fil-A sandwiches, and David Ross would bury 7 a game. I mean, he just went at it.
I mean, you have to attack this with a fork. A burger with a fork.
Heredia strikes out. Wilson 1 down, bottom 7. Stream out-of-market regular season games live or on demand, plus MLB big inning and select pregame and postgame coverage. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Eddie, look, he's burying that ice cream. Why don't you just get in there? What are we waiting for?
Looking for the knife. There is none. This could be ugly.
We hope. First pitch swinging from Swanson.
Coney's worried this thing's going to just blow up on him. I don't know how to attack this, Coney.
Take it apart.
Exactly.
Yes, just take it
just
apart.
Take it apart?
Just
all right, here we go.
Crush it.
All right, we got the egg. 2 eggs per day, per my diet. So no egg for me right now. Here's a salad.
Wait a minute. You just said per my diet, and you're about to dive into that?
Well, my wife's probably watching. And
gold-leafed foie gras.
Okay, that'll stay right there. Ay, papa. Langostita.
Dansby just foul.
I really need a knife. I really do.
Here you go. It's been handed to me.
Oh.
Heads, feet, helping you out.
There we go. I'm going to try this. And oh, by the way, there's some gold
still on the lobster.
Yes, I'm all in on this.
Now we can get a word in edgewise. First time tonight.
I love it. I love it. You realize that we're going to do this all year, right?
So, what's the review?
Very good.
It should be. Cody's just staring like you're amazed at what's happening.
If it's a $151 burger, you go after the most expensive part. Then you attack the Wagyu, right? Not doing the cheese today.
Diet.
Diet.
Body is the temple. Tim, I'm telling you, this $151 burger they just served up here is taller than both you and I.
That's not saying much, Ravi. Let's face it.
Chaser.
I like how he balances that.
As content can be right there.
Yeah.
Wilson, the 5th-round pick out of Fresno State by the Pirates in 2008, picks up his 2nd strikeout. So earlier today, and one of the trends that we've seen thanks to maybe the CBA, but a lot of these real good, young, talented players are not having their service time manipulated. Bobby Witt Jr., the outstanding prospect for the Kansas City Royals, comes up with a big double in the 8th inning. And it turned out to be the game winner, the Royals over the Cleveland Guardians by a score of 3-1. Rodriguez in Seattle, Torkelson, and Bobby Witt Jr. It's been like the biggest story the last few years, hasn't it? The influx of really great young talent.
Yes, and more on the way, as you just mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones that are already in the game, you know, from Juan Soto and Ronald Acuna Jr. But now, coming, I mean, when you think about it, Bobby Witt Jr. is going to make a real difference. And the best part is, right from the get-go, buy an opening day ticket. You have hope. Wow, let's go watch these young stars.
Right.
You know, Detroit was going to take Riley Green, too, with them. He had an unfortunate injury.
Yep.
Along with Spencer Torkelson.
Speaking of Green, how about Hunter Green, who's scheduled to go Sunday for the Cincinnati Reds? You talk about 100 miles an hour. See some of that from the starter.
And he short arms it too. So it's not just the velo, it's how quick he can get it there with great extension.
Well, Justin Wilson trying to strike out the side. 1 and 2. He won't do it. And that one is into center, and it hangs up for Nick Senzel. Good inning from Wilson. Last pitch, 95 miles an hour. Head into the 8th inning. All Reds on the road in Atlanta. Quick flashback here. Henry Aaron, opening day 1974, after spending the winter on 713 homers. Ding dong, 7-14.
I was there. It was awesome as a kid.
What was that like?
I was young, but I was there. It was awesome.
How old were you?
We're looking at 4 to 5. 4 going on 5.
So it's more of one of those you say I was there, but you don't really remember it.
That's why I tell you I was there.
Yep.
Opening days, those were holidays at the Perez's house.
Usually a couple RBIs for Papa too, right?
Right center field. By the way, good burger.
Oh, there you go, Eddie.
Ah, big dog. Oh yeah. Keep it up just 2 more seconds. My mom's taking a picture of that right now.
Sorry, we got to check in on 100. Strider has come in and punched out 3 of the 4 he's faced. 100 miles gets Nick Senzel. So were you and Dad kicking around like a top 5 list of the greatest Reds of all time? Did I hear you mention that?
We have. I had to ask because Tim is also here. Listen, we've had this conversation, and My dad and I concur, and I even asked Rick Stowe in the Reds dugout today earlier, and I said, give me your top 5. I want to know. And it actually played with what my dad and I thought, but Tim has a different top 5, and I think it's really interesting, and I think at home you can have this discussion. At the top, my dad says Frank Robinson. He says number 1. Johnny Bench, Pete Rose, and Joe Morgan in no particular order.
Yep.
Or 4 out of 5, and then my dad turned around, looked at me, and said, and me.
And me.
And I said, and you're right. And Tim has a different top 5. Tim?
Okay, I have a very similar list to Eduardo, but I have Johnny Bench number 1. He's the greatest catcher of all time, and he spent his entire career, 16 years, with the Reds. I have Frank Robinson number 2. He's the 3rd greatest right fielder ever, but he only played 10 years with the Reds, but he's the best player ever to play for the Reds. I have Joe Morgan 3rd greatest second baseman of all time for me, and as Jim Palmer once said, the Reds didn't become the big red machine until Joe Morgan showed up. Then there's Pete Rose. If you just take his hits left-handed, he is the 24th all-time hit leader just using his left-handed hits. And 5th, and this is the impossible one, I put Joey Votto 5th for what we've talked about tonight, the 300, 400, 500, the 14th best on-base percentage of anyone in history. And I left Barry Larkin and Tony Perez off the list, and I can't even begin to tell you how painful that was.
You know what's painful right now?
Holy smokes.
Is it being a hitter and seeing 100 at the letters, and then with a nasty slider at 86 to go along with it that he can throw for strikes.
Spencer Strider is dealing. Good goodness. Strikes out the side, faces 6, and he has struck out 5. Average fastball velo. A hundo. Get off your Strider. Woo. Really? Matt Olson steps to the plate one more time in his first game in an Atlanta Braves uniform. You get used to seeing 28. No longer seeing number 5. 32 years old, 28 years old. That's a big factor. The last 3 years, the numbers are very similar, including the home runs, the OPS, the WAR is almost identical. So you take Olson's youth compared to Freeman, and it feels like the next 2 to 3 years are going to be a wash. I mean, we know how great Freddie Freeman is, and there's no indication there's going to be any slowdown. Throw him in that lineup, you're going to have to pitch to somebody, and Freddie Freeman certainly could be one. But Alex Anthopoulos came up here. He looked at all the computers that you have up here. You have Savant open and StatCast and all that stuff. So that's what the front offices are looking at, and then they have to project out. You know, at some point you got to look into the future. And I'll tell you, the projections on Matt Olson versus Freddie Freeman certainly give the advantage to Matt Olson. And it's fairly significant.
Especially on the defensive side. Olson, a true gold glover. You know, not that Freddie Freeman, you know, wasn't adequate at first base, but Olson is elite on the defensive side of the ball.
And you see how those numbers translate right there. And this is where baseball has gone, not only as far as salaries per players, but where they project and how they end up. And Matt Olson being at home here in a hitter-friendly ballpark compared to where he was in Oakland, those numbers could even be better than what the projections have them to be.
Those projections and planning ahead brought to you by Voya Financial. 3-1 count, good count for Matt Olson. Dauri Moreta into the game, and he throws a pitch, and that one is fouled off into the seats. I mean, let's remember too, Olson, you know, he'd cover 50 yards in foul territory, which spoke to his ability to cover ground. That's all gone. You know, now he's got 12.
He's loving that too.
He loves that. He loves that porch in right field.
And not only because of the defensive standpoint, but on the defensive end, but also on the offensive end, it plays great for him now being in Atlanta.
He draws the walk on a 3-2 pitch, and the Braves get their leadoff man on here in the 8th inning. Hey, suit up this season at MLBshop.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Gear up with your favorite team at MLBshop.com. most beloved Brave, will be back here on June 26 with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Here's Austin Riley. Big swing and a miss. Big swing and a miss.
Well, they've been pitching Riley up and in with the fastball, sliders down and away. They don't want those hands to get extended. Magical year for him last year, both defensively and offensively.
So the Texas Rangers are going to Toronto. Canada has the vaccination rules which require everybody that enters the country to be vaccinated. Just read that the Rangers are now 100% vaccinated, so the entire team will go there and not have a problem. But every team that is going to travel to Toronto with unvaccinated players currently would be at a competitive disadvantage. But the first series, which begins tomorrow, not the case for the Rangers or any of their players. Two-one to Riley.
This is no small deal, and that is a story that is not going to go away, Carl, and we're going to find out more and more with every team that has to go north of the border. There's no hiding. You're going to know exactly who's vaccinated and who's not.
Yeah.
And for the American League East teams with still the unbalanced schedule this year, it's a significant factor.
2-2 that's high. So Riley played 160 games last year. Mike Brumley was the Braves minor league hitting instructor, and he was given a lot of credit by Riley for helping him realize his potential. He is no longer with the team. He didn't comply with the vaccination rules. He's been to see him a couple of times, but you wonder if there's going to be any impact at all not having him around. Sounding board, look at the swing, and clearly with all the technology that shouldn't be a huge problem. And that one is hammered to left, and Riley gives Brumley something to be proud about. Austin Riley's first of the year, and the lead has been cut in half. It's 6-3 on Riley's big blast to left.
Talk about bringing those hands in. Marlta looking at the pitch. Exit velocity of 107.6 miles per hour. The distance 424 feet. No doubter for Riley, who last year led the Atlanta Braves in home runs. Gets the first one for them and gets this game now to a 3-run lead. Pitch right down the middle. He brings his hands beautifully in. Barrel through the zone. Head never moves.
Just beats him to the spot.
That's the power the Atlanta Braves have in this lineup, and it's a length and power. It's not just a couple guys. They can beat you with a long ball anywhere you want. Ozuna now coming up with no one on base. He also can express that. That's why this game is far from being over.
Yep.
David Bell knows it.
Game one of the LCS last year against the Dodgers. It was Riley's home run to tie it at 2, and then the game-winning walk-off single, which scored Ozzy Albies. Retta will stay in the game. Tony Santillan is in the Reds bullpen. Ozuna signed a 4-year, $64 million contract back in February of 2021. 31 years old, 6'1", 225. As a player, Eddie, on this team, how important can he be?
He has to play a major role. Again, at least for the first month in the outfield, and then he can transition to the designated hitter spot once Acuna comes in.
Yep. Sky high. Votto puts his head down and says that is nowhere near a ball I'm going to go get. And it's India on a difficult fly ball for the out.
You want consistency. This is what Austin Riley's been able to do the last couple years. Again, quiet, foot lands softly out in front. That head does not move. And he's able to put and barrel baseballs and get that loft that he needed.
Here's Ozzie Albies off of a terrific season. A bit better right-handed hitter than left. Remember Brian Snitker, his initial impression of Albies, he's an exciting little player with really good skills. It's going to be fun to watch him play.
30 home runs, jumps off the page.
Exactly. So after the 2019, this is right in Tim's wheelhouse. Albies was 279, 54 homers, and an 806 OPS. So only 2 other switch hitters to hit at least 275 with 50 or more homers and an 800 OPS were Mickey Mantle and Eddie Murray through the first 3 years of their career at 22 or younger. Albies, Mantle, Murray.
Natural communicator in the clubhouse as well.
Leader, yeah.
Just, you know, some players have the it factor. When Francisco Lindor was coming up with the Cleveland, then Indians, now Guardians, they raved about it. Ozzie Albies, same thing.
Fooled there. Albies strikes out. 2 down in the 8th inning.
You can see the traditional kind of 3-finger changeup grip. Fade down and away has Albies way out in front. The key with any changeup is the sales job, the arm speed. Make it look like you're trying to throw a fastball. You got to sell it.
And if hitters think that you're a con artist on the mound, you're doing a pretty good job of selling it. Because that means you took the hook. Took the bait, right?
That's what Billy Martin used to say. Pitchers are born liars. So he was right.
I mentioned Lindor. He's got an RBI single in their game as the Mets had a 2-0 lead and have just added to it. It's Buck Showalter in his debut with the Mets. You think about the Braves. Favorite for you in the National League East? Mets, Phillies, Braves, Marlins with their pitching?
You know, I'm old school in the approach that they're the defending champions, and you really have to knock them off the perch. And I really thought Max Fried leading the staff will take the next step, the way he finished last year and the way he pitched in the postseason. I think their bullpen, the way they pitched last year, adding Kenley Jansen to the back end of it.
Caesar's odds have the Braves, then the Mets, Phillies, Marlins, and the Nationals are in a kind of a different stratosphere at plus 5,000. Mets lead the Nationals 5-1 tonight. Scherzer is going to start tomorrow. They didn't move Scherzer once DeGrom got hurt. Instead, it was Taylor McGill who went 5 innings tonight and gave up just 3 hits. He struck out 6, didn't walk anybody. You know, you love that segment by Van Pelt, best thing I saw today. McGill start. How about Wainwright start today? Was outstanding for the Cardinals against the Pirates. Bobby Witt's big hit was huge. And certainly the Reds' performance tonight has been outstanding. Oretta does pick up the strikeout. To the last inning we go. Cincinnati 6, Atlanta 3. Take a look at Time to Shine. It's brought to you by Mother's Polish. You know, the big home run in this game off the bat of Brandon Drury, who bats ninth for the Cincinnati Reds. They played at Farmer and Moustakis. 3-run shot in the 6th inning. Kids get to stay up a little later tonight. Home opener. Legit excuse. So to the 9th inning, and Tyler Thornburg now on for the Atlanta Braves.
And Thornburg's got a tough act to follow, right? With Spencer Strider.
My goodness.
Yeah, it was just all out. 5 strikeouts, all around 100 miles an hour.
Off speed. Looks like he got a piece of the K zone, but not called a strike. Tyler Mahle started this thing for Cincinnati. He went 5 innings, 7 strikeouts, just the 1 run. It was unearned. Loretta gave up the home run and made it 6-3, which is where we are as we head to the last. Fried, McHugh, Strider, and now Thornburg. 2 innings for Strider, 5 punch-outs. See a fastball curveball change from the former draft pick out of Charleston Southern by the Brewers in 2010. Well, it started like a house of fire here as they celebrated the World Series championship. They unveiled the pennant, which hangs on one of the light stanchions down in right field. And it went pretty quiet after that home run. Uh, 2-2. Heater by him, strike 3. And that brings up Jonathan India.
Right, Ravi, as you know, I like to do a list for every game. So in honor of Jonathan India, I came up with the all-country list in baseball history. Of course, Brian Jordan, an outfielder, he was here tonight. I love the starting pitchers that we have, Mark Portugal and Derek Holland. We even have a broadcaster, our own Mike Monaco at ESPN. And with Jonathan India, I asked him about his unusual last name, and he said his entire life people have come up to him and said, "Are you actually from India?" And he has to say, "No, I'm not from India. I'm not even close to India. It's just my last name."
I liked how you went with first names as well. Yeah, we did the SEC basketball, Tim. We had a director, Mike Ireland. So we had Ireland covered. On the infield, and an easy one. India retired. Predict who's going to dominate the 2022 season. You could win $100,000 worth of Bitcoin or cash with MLB Season Pick'em, presented by FTX. View rules and enter at MLB.com/season pick'em. I wonder if Tim did a list with your last name, would it be considered a food item like a cone, or would it be considered one of the cones you put in a road?
Could go either way.
See, absolutely.
Depends how hungry they are. I'd probably go with the one on the road right now because I just ate. Just saying.
You're full. It took so long for you to navigate how to attack that burger. But if you come to a game in Atlanta this year, you get $151 to spend on a burger. You can get it.
I'm the old school fashion. First time I ever approached and attacked a burger with a fork and knife. I'm old school. Give me the hand. Let's go.
Fouled off the plate. Darno begins to get some nicks and bruises to go post spring training. Santillan will come in to try to close this thing out. It's one of the bigger stories in baseball as we move towards the Yankees-Red Sox opener. Is there going to be some announcement about an Aaron Judge extension? 3-2. Just missed.
Either way, right?
Either way, yeah, whether it's arbitration or it's an extension. You have a gut feel on it, either one of you?
There's been radio silence, you know, over the last several days.
I say extension.
Which is what they were saying here in Atlanta about Freddie Freeman. Bottom of the ninth coming up. It'll be Darno, Heredia, and Swanson. Looking forward to our Sunday night matchup. The Red Sox will throw Tanner Houck. The Yankees. Looks like Montgomery is going to pitch for them. They finish up their 3-game set at Yankee Stadium. Our coverage starts 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific on ESPN and the app with Baseball Tonight. Sunday night countdown. ESPN2 will have the K-Rod cast. Guests include the Rocket Roger Clemens, Julio Rodriguez, and a lot more. Monday afternoon, 3 Eastern, 2 Central on ESPN+. The Orioles, their home opener at Camden Yards against the Brewers. And that'll be the first game of their 3-game series. We're excited about baseball in both those cities that we'll see Sunday night, Boston and New York. Very excited about baseball in Toronto in the American League East, and of course Tampa Bay. 4 teams winning 90 games in that league again, that division.
It's going to be interesting to watch. Boston with Trevor Story playing second base now.
New pitcher is Tony Santillan, Red second-round pick in 2015. The guy that throws it around 96 miles an hour, an ERA of 2.91. Good strikeout rate. Turns out the Braves bullpen, Strider really was a significant part of that, but 7 of the last 9 outs were strikeouts against the Reds. In fact, the Braves struck out 13 tonight, 8 of them by the bullpen. And that's how you earn more time, right, Strider? Like, what I love what I saw.
He was aggressive and he was able to throw strikes with his secondary pitches as well.
It's a good way to get in that circle of trust, right, with your manager. Start earning some high leverage spots.
1-2 to Darno, and that one's going to go into the seats. Well, it's a fun, memorable night. I think for all of us doing this for the first time together, we get set to be together each and every Sunday. And we had Joey Votto wearing a microphone for 4 innings and talking with us wearing an IFB. Let's go back and listen to some of the things that Votto said during that time.
I'm mic'd right now. Are you? Yeah. Say hi to everyone.
Hi, everybody. You're multitasking now, but you're not able to see a monitor.
Oh, I see it. I see it in my mind's eye. Eddie, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
Todo lo más bien, mi amigo.
Muy bien, muy bien. Hey, Ozzy, what do you think about me getting a diamond tooth?
Go for it.
Okay, there we go. Go for it.
Go for it.
Okay.
Want to give him the real?
You know what struck me is when he said to Ozzy, I have a microphone. It wasn't as if Ozzy was shocked by that or ran away. It's becoming, I'm not saying it's something that everybody's doing, but it certainly has moved into, you know, the stage here where it just doesn't shock somebody. And he was playing right along, and to the credit of the players, they've been really, really great about that. My buddies at Cespedes Family Barbecue, I've been considering getting a diamond tooth or a gold tooth, taking out one of my bicuspids and replacing it. He wanted us to do a poll.
Well, In his Instagram also, he's talked about the cavities that needed fillings during spring training. I think it was like 8, he said. Brush your teeth was the advice that he gave everyone. He's a sensation.
And if you don't follow him on those platforms, it is worth it. So, I mean, if you've known him. I'm telling you, I did a commercial with him years ago where Mr. Redlegs was in the bathroom at ESPN on the 2nd floor. We were in there for 6 hours, and we would kind of compare. It's like a mustache competition. I could tell he had a great sense of humor, but it's almost like a light went off. Like there's this real interest in exposing himself, learning about himself, evolving. The dialogue, like I can't tell, was the dialogue with Bell sincere? Or was he so dry he was kidding? I really want to take it easy. I don't want to work hard. I want to save my body, which makes sense.
I think it did. I think he was serious, yeah.
Really dry, but very, very funny sense of humor.
It's almost like he found a new gear. I can swing the bat with authority. I can start to drive the ball.
On the ground, Farmer to first, 2 down.
I think it's coming in really good. Yeah, totally. I'm gonna win this mustache contest. Maybe. Good luck with You're going down this year. See you in 2 weeks, pal.
Joey acknowledged when he was presented with the concept, he went to his agent and said, I don't think this is a good thing to do. And his agent suggested it's something fun, and he said, I really enjoyed it. He remembered the day, I think for the good, because we worked together in a men's bathroom for 6 hours.
Got to know each other really well.
We did.
Huh?
Could see it back then.
Who kept messing up the takes?
It's unbelievable, Coney, how many times we did those things and the takes. Unbelievable. But they were perfectionists and they were great. Swanson's done, so is the game. Another strikeout by Santillan. He picks up a couple. And Dansby Swanson is retired. The Cincinnati Reds come in and are now 5-1 in the season openers against defending World Series champions. Pitching was the difference.
Pitching, timely hitting, and again, soft contact for Cincinnati worked.
Again, thank you to Joey Votto for what he did tonight for us. It was memorable. For David Cohn, Eduardo Perez, our producer Andy Jacobson, we are off and running. Look forward to seeing you Sunday. Red Sox and Yankees. Up next, UFC 273 countdown. Volkanovski against the Korean Zombie. So long, everybody. Thanks for watching.